Hey guys, I'm going to be covering the trigonometry interview with Neil deGrasse Tyson. I think he's losing his mind. I think it's interesting to watch how he thinks now. I think it's very interesting. I think there's some insight hopefully to be gained here that maybe I can shed some light on that maybe you don't find elsewhere. We'll see. Let's try it out. If you don't know who I am, I'm Cracky Reads. At least I go by that online. I'm a Japanese to English technical translator, believe it or not. I have a stream where I play Japanese games that didn't get released in English, and I try and interpret them live. It's a pretty cool stream. It's on kick.com, Cracky Reads. That's it. Let's watch the thing. Let's start watching it and start seeing how crazy this gets. Let's make sure I don't accidentally. I had to record the start a couple times because I keep in a space where to play, and on OBS that stops the recording. So I accidentally cut the recording like 5 times now, and now I can do it. I did it. We're still here.
I'm Francis Foster.
I'm Konstantin Kisin.
And this is a show for you if you want.
Well, real quick, my politics, if you're maybe wondering that, I try to be apolitical. I think of myself as apolitical. I was an anarchist growing up when I was younger. I dropped out of high school. Learned Japanese on my own. And that has left me with, I don't know, it's an interesting political position. I think a lot of my friends are leftists still, unfortunately for me. I now no longer think the left is real exactly. If you believe in the left, I'm not saying you can't try and convince me. I'm open to maybe I'm wrong, but the more I learn about the more I used to kind of lean that way, and the more I've learned about it, the more I think it's kind of baloney. But and you know, besides the cult, the Marxist Gnostic cult, I don't know what else is real, man. And you might hear these words and be like, "What though? He's just saying talking points." Well, I'd be happy to explain. Let me know in the comments whatever questions you have about it. I'd be happy to talk about it. And if you are caught up on what I'm talking about, then you know there is a communist, Marxist, or Gnostic cult, however you want to look at it, Hermetic cult, some kind of cult, a cult without a name, the nameless cult, I call it sometimes. You already know about it.
Honest conversations with fascinating people.
Our brilliant guest today is a prominent American astrophysicist, the author of many books, the latest of which is called Starry Messenger, Cosmic Perspectives on Civilization. Neil deGrasse Tyson, welcome to Triggernometry.
Thank you. Thank you. I thought there'd be math on the show, but apparently not.
we will see. We'll see how much math there is.
That's the only reason why I agreed to this, that we do some...
All right, well, 2 plus...
So that's the joke. That's a joke. Okay, I mean, it's fine. It's kind of like a pun in human form, right? It's kind of like a pun turned into almost slapstick, slapping his hand about it, getting upset a little bit about it. Okay, I mean, it's fine. I'm not going to critique a joke.
2 equals 4. I hope we can agree on that, although some people dispute even that these days.
Yeah.
But anyway, welcome.
It is a clever name for the show. Trigonometry. That's good.
One of the...
Now that's kind of good to bring it up and then first make a little joke and then actually compliment the name. In conversation, I think it's a good thing to do, right? Try and compliment the things you find impressive about like somebody's show or their thing or whatever, or them, you know.
Greatest astrophysicist in the world likes the name of the show. I think we've done well. So Neil, welcome first of all. I cannot wait to talk about your book, because one of the things that whenever I'm having a particularly bad day or things are not going well in my life, I'll stick one of those YouTube videos on that shows you a zoom out from planet Earth into the solar system.
Yeah.
Now I kind of think this way of thinking is kind of poppycock. I know that may seem ridiculous, but I kind of think it's poppycock. Like, it's true that at the cosmic scale, we almost mean nothing, right? But we don't think at the cosmic scale. We think at the individual scale. So it's like a trick, kind of. And I mean, you should keep in mind the scale thing sometimes, but we can't even really comprehend it. So it's kind of just pretend. It's kind of like pretend and kind of... It kind of just makes people nihilistic, I think. Like, they just think they don't matter when they scale out that way. And in truth, you're always in the scale of your own head, your own individual scale. And while we can't imagine things and simulate things at higher scales, we never really can put ourselves there. So it's always kind of a fake illusion that we're just like a mind game we're doing. It's never really a real way of looking at things because it's not really true, right? You're never really in space. So looking at things from the scale of space is always untrue.
That'll do it every time.
Into the Milky Way and on and on. And I think that cosmic perspective on life is a really powerful thing. Before we get into that and
I think it's silly. Is that what his book is about? A cosmic perspective? Oh, God. Okay, sure.
some of the more controversial stuff that you've been saying lately, let's
Well, no wonder he's saying crazy stuff if that's what he believes in now.
talk briefly about your career to date. Who are you? How are you where you are? What has been the journey through life that leads you to be sitting here talking to us?
Did I say something controversial?
Well, we'll find out.
I'm just
We'll
offering
find out.
points of view.
He's definitely been saying controversial things recently. Most certainly. Yeah. We'll see them, hopefully.
Okay.
That's controversial nowadays. I don't know if you
yeah,
noticed.
but it shouldn't be, really.
Sorry about that.
I'm thinking,
Agreed.
but okay. So your opening question is,
Who are you? What's been a journey through life?
oh, okay. I was interested in the universe from age 9, dating back to a first visit to my local planetarium. I grew up in New York City, so my local planetarium is the Hayden Planetarium, where I now happen to also serve as director, and going on now 27th year, I think, as director. So,
Okay.
It's one of these hometown kid does good, but in New York City, the city's too large, no one cares. So that story doesn't resonate the way it might if it was actually a small town. One thing about
It's all in how you tell a story like that. It doesn't matter the scale of where the thing is, right? It's how you present the story to other people. You can present it from your eyes and make it still seem, magnificent. You don't have to act like that. But anyway.
a planetarium in a city is, and this is surely true for London, where the planetarium might be your only access to the night sky, because big cities, in the old days,
We can always drive out, right? You can always drive away from the city.
there's air pollution. Today there's light pollution, and so it blocks what would otherwise be your access to the cosmos. And so for me, my first encounter with the night sky, I kind of thought it was a hoax, right? There are not this many stars in the night sky. I've seen all 12 of them from the Bronx, okay? So I would later learn, of course, that the sky displayed in the planetarium dome was the real sky, a version of the real sky.
Well, it's not the real sky. It's in the planetarium, bro. Okay. All
To
right.
this day, when I'm on mountaintops or some of the finest observing locations in the world, I find myself thinking, this is so beautiful. It reminds me of the Hayden Planetarium. I know that's a sad fact, but it's real. I feel it. So I've been
There's some amazing places you can go stargazing.
thinking about the universe ever since. Early on, I'm just reading books, and then
I have a good buddy. I hope he doesn't mind me calling him a good buddy. I have a good buddy that is a astrophysicist. We used to do a podcast together on YouTube. You can find it. It's on Dark Titan something, Dark Titan Empire, Dark Titan Media, Dark Titan something. We did a podcast. It was cool. I don't mean to drop in the name. But it was pretty cool. And he had a similar thing where he loved space. I don't wanna kill his thing, but there is something romantic to space, and I get it. I get it. There's this romantic thing about space, and when people that love space, it's definitely something romantic. Space is, and the love of it. Yeah.
line my academic career to fulfill that interest right on through a PhD. And so I did research mostly many years ago. Lately, I've been mostly in the public eye, writing books, appearing in documentaries.
He means he's not doing any real work anymore. He's just writing, right? He's just now he's made it to where he can just write whatever crap down he wants. I don't mean to pick on the guy, but that's what he
And
means.
Cosmos.
It means he doesn't have to do anything real anymore.
I did the second and third versions of that. Carl Sagan did the first. back in 1980. Very honored
And people love the original, right?
to
I think his wife or something worked on the new one, so it's still cool.
continue that tradition
I think.
of bringing the universe down to earth to whoever will listen, and as a servant of their curiosity. So that's who I am and what I've been about.
And you've been communicating science to the public in very interesting and appealing ways for a long time. Why?
Yeah, I mean he has been, but he's been saying some ridiculous stuff recently. So how do you put those two things together? I don't know. How do you deal with those two facts?
Why is that important, Neil? Why is it important that we as the public are informed about the science?
And in general, people aren't informed about the science. So like, does that mean, do we hold that against him or no? Because in general, people aren't very well informed. In fact, the opposite is true. We can't hold it against him. It's not his fault.
Yeah, I will not tell you what you should think is important, because I'm just offering content, and I'm not going to hit you on the head to require that you listen to me. I'm not going to do any of that, because I'm much more passive about it. Even if it doesn't feel that way, because my face is everywhere and videos are everywhere, of course, and I'm active on social media. And so
let's just skip this part. I'm sorry, bro. It's too boring. I'm sorry. I'm just skipping. Let's just skip the next part.
taking.
No. Keep watching. We need the algorithmic engagement. Keep
No, I
watching.
skipped
You
that
must
nonsense.
watch this.
Neil, I think you do a hugely important job, which is essentially being the public face of your discipline. Post-pandemic, do you think that science has taken a battering in that people have lost a little bit of faith in science?
They totally do. I totally have. People totally think less of science now. And not just science, not science really. Most people still believe in science. You know, they don't believe in science. They don't believe in the concept of experts and institutions. It's not science that people are skeptical of anymore. It's the institutions, and it's the soft sciences. It's psychology. It's things like that. It's psychology, right? It's psychology. It's sociology. It's all these soft sciences that we're pretending are harder than they are, to say all kinds of things. And then, of course, you have people say CRT is so ridiculous, and they'll say, "Oh, it's not taught."
As a result of things that people said, for instance, that people were saying, well,
have they given up that angle yet? I'm not.
Take the vaccine, it means that you can't pass it on, the virus, and then that turned out not to be true. Now, obviously, I'm not asking you to comment on that, but just do you think that people are now just a little bit more skeptical of scientists, a little bit more untrusting?
So there are a couple of loose edges there. So let me explore that with you. All right. So first, no single scientist ever communicates the truth unless they are communicating a consensus of observations that have been made. And unfortunately, I don't have a better word than consensus to use in that sentence, because typically when we hear the word consensus, it relates to a shared opinion about something. In science, it's not about opinions, it's about the results of experiments. And if you have a set of experiments,
it's still about opinions though too at the end of the day, right? But I get what he's saying. He's saying in the science community, you say there's a consensus, it means most of the data is showing this, and everybody's pretty much in general it has a consensus. In general, people agree that that's probably the case because there's so much data to back it up.
Of which lean in this direction instead of that direction. It's like, hey, we're onto something here. And I'm going to go with the consensus of those observations and experiments. They have nothing to do with the individual. Okay? So what's curious to me is we live in an era where you can channel surf on YouTube. Is that what it's called? Just surf on YouTube. They're not channels, I guess. You surf on YouTube and you land on somebody who says, the mainstream thinks this is true. The establishment thinks this, but here's the actual truth. You're all in on that. Okay, now, but why are you all in on that?
What is he talking about? Who's all in on that? Who is he talking to? When he says you, he means that random me watching? Okay, so he says when you're... I'm losing the anticipant here. So he's saying You are channel surfing, and then you're all in that they're totally right and telling you the truth. Who's he speaking to? I don't watch those videos like that. Do you? Yeah, I know people talk like that, but you know, you take in their ideas and you parse them and you whatever. You don't just go all in on that. When somebody goes, I definitely would be more skeptical than that if I was you. So who's he talking to? Is it an imagined person? Is it us? Is it now who's all in?
And there's something about the lone genius that we wanna snuggle up to them rather than the faceless.
I don't think he's describing accurate things at all, really. Here, no offense to Neil, but I don't know what this is. Sure, people do kind of go to the random person online and they're like the underdog. The underdog is what I mean. The people, we root for the underdog to be right. But he's skipping the whole real part, which is that the institutions have lied to us a bunch, and especially journalism. And they've brought forward a lot of things they called science. Like, we're missing the actual topic. They have a lot of things they called forward that were science. I mean, sorry, that they call science. And they were lying to us. And so people now doubt it. This has nothing to do with any of this. The people online are an effect of that. I mean, not an effect, they're a result of that. Seems pretty obvious to me, and the reason people believe it is because they know they're being lied to, and they don't yet have the skills. The ones that are doing what he's describing don't yet have the skills to parse what's true and what's not true, so they doubt everything now. And so they do listen to guys like that because they don't know what the hell is real, and this guy doesn't know what the hell is real either. You know, like they're able to map some of the things that they believe to be true with the person they're watching, and I think they believe in some of the same things. So maybe the guy does see the truth like they would understand it, and they're looking for somebody to relate to and map the things they recognize to be true, and find that person. That's what they're looking for. It's not like they're being seduced by a siren of the lone genius. It's ridiculous. I don't know if he's jealous of them, envious of those people, or what. I don't know what this is, but he doesn't know what's really the real conversation is that people were lied to and they don't know what to do now.
Establishment.
Yeah, you got establishment now. But it's because the establishment actually did lie. It actually lied to all of us time after time after time these past couple of years, and more so before then. We just didn't know it.
Because that person is speaking passionately. And our response to fellow humans speaking passionately is well known.
That's all he's going to make the case for. The passion is the only reason. The reason they're even channel surfing in the first place is because they know that they can't trust the institution, so they're not watching those. So, okay. Sure. And that's also saying it's well known in the advertising industry, but the institutions don't use it. So, like, what is the point here? You're saying that individual YouTubers, individual streamers, individual people, they use passion, but the news industry doesn't use passion. You never see it from the news. You never see it from the mainstream media. You never see it from the establishment. That's ridiculous.
Industry.
Like, that's ridiculous. And he's even saying that it's well known by the advertising industry and not well known by these random people starting their channels. So what is the case being made here?
They could just show you a bar chart of why their product is better than everybody else's. But no, they have a person saying, I use this and it changed my life and it'll change.
Like, he has the pieces to understand, but he just chooses not to.
Your life too. That's what you listen to. We're blind to the statistical.
Right, you're describing the mainstream. The reason that the people trust the random guy is not his passion. It might be part of it, sure. I don't know enough to say it's whether or not it is, but that's not the primary reason. That's not the primary reason. The primary reason is because the first one lied to him and are looking for the truth, and the second one's passionate and looking for the truth, and they resonate with that. They agree with that.
Representation of reality. And I'm okay, we're human, and do I complain about that or just try to navigate that? I don't know. I do know we're not very good at thinking statistically about the world. Okay?
Again, it's because they lied, right? It's because the institutions lied that people are so distrustful. No, at no point is he thinking about like the actual things that happen. It's because the public education system made people not pursuance of truth or knowledge, but pursuance of pursuance of a pat on the back. And so this is this is the world we're left with. It's not that much of a surprise, Neil.
And if we were better at it, no one would play the lottery. Okay? Just let's understand that. All right? And we have.
No, I don't think you can say that either. A lot of people do understand that they're throwing away their money and they would still play it because they enjoy it. They enjoy it is why.
People who exploit this ignorance exquisitely
are all the underground people and not the institutions, right? That's the case he's going to make.
And they're called casino owners. Okay?
Right, true. I'm from, by the way, more background. I'm from Las Vegas. That is true. Las Vegas casino owners are some of the best. I mean, casinos are some of, I'm not going to say the owners, but the casinos are some of the like most manipulative stuff brain-wise. Like they paint the ceiling on the roof and no clocks anywhere. They're purposely trying to make you lose track of time. That's a good point, actually. That's true.
Exploiting
but
the fact that
I don't know. Well, it's not a good point because I don't know what it has to do with this, but that is true.
Fundamentally do not understand probability and statistics. Okay?
That's true too. But that's why they put the rules on the thing. And but he's saying they're exploiting people. You can understand them and still choose to gamble.
Problem
because it's fun, man. Like, come on, it's not an education problem. People enjoy gambling. Come on, that's ridiculous.
And that gap manifests in adulthood with our susceptibility to.
No, it's the lack of a good education that actually makes you that trains you, prepares you to hunt down knowledge on your own. It's a lack of that. It's pretty obvious, bro. I don't know why you're acting like it's
others who do know the statistics.
Right.
Then exploit
it's you're very come on.
Your ignorance of it. That's my first.
He thinks he's up in the cosmos, and the rest of us are all some dumb, whatever society that just chooses not to try to understand statistics like he does. Is what's coming off. Maybe I'm wrong.
Point. Another loose edge is we have institutions and people
that lie. Please tell me that they lie.
Institutions where science research is conducted. Okay, or conducted under their auspices.
And
the
they
National
lie.
Academy of Sciences, in the United States, the National Institutes of Health. And the UK surely has corresponding agencies to this. Here's a problem. How well do they know how to communicate? Okay?
Right, the problem is they don't know how to communicate well and not that anybody's lying. Okay.
As scientists, we don't take graduate courses in communication.
Oh my God, as if you would need a graduate course. I'm skipping this shit, bro. I don't know. I don't know what his point is. It's a lot of talking, and he hasn't made anything resembling a point or understanding of what the actual, like, situation is. Let's see where he has that now.
I'm just getting excited.
Yeah, you know that passion is what people listen to, you just said, right? That's why people listen to the weirdos on the internet.
Great. It's great. But Neil, to engage you on that point.
No one
weirdos like me, right, is what I mean.
Research result should be accepted as the truth. It has to have
yes, that's true. You should look at meta studies, blah blah blah, bro. I'm skipping to the end of this. Jesus Christ, man.
Asking people whether they wore the mask. Here's an experiment.
Oh, the mask now.
You get the N95 material. You'd set up a membrane of that between two sides of a container, of a vessel, and you put COVID vaccine aerosol on one side and make sure it's not on the other side, and then put a pressure difference between the two so that this air flows across, and test to see whether the COVID aerosols made it through. If they made it through, then you would have an authentic scientific result that said the mask does not work. If they don't make.
Well, people weren't saying that N95s didn't work. They were saying that, I mean, they're mostly saying that cloths don't work. Cloth masks was the main thing that doesn't work. The thing about masks not working is that there's two different things. You're debunking one of them. You've combined them into one thing to debunk them. One is that cloth masks don't really work because they don't actually stop the size. They don't stop things that small. But N95 is a whole different thing. The point was that people made against it was that in aggregate, it doesn't seem that wearing them does seem to really stop the spread, because, you know, for whatever reasons, people think they're safer because they're wearing the mask or whatever it is, and it doesn't really seem to slow it down. Those are two different points they combined into one point, and then came up with a way to debunk neither one really, because it doesn't really address either one.
Make it through, then you have a result that they do. So that's
It's showing he doesn't listen to people, man. He doesn't even know what the people thought.
how that experiment should have been conducted, and it wasn't.
All right, we'll just keep going, bro. I don't know what the hell.
Problem with the way that the entire
The
pandemic was
misuse reputation in
communicated. There were
science. Oh,
people
fine.
who
Maybe
were
they'll get to this.
incredibly notable experts in their field with glowing reputations who proffered a different view, and
That's my point. It doesn't matter. Your reputation, your title, none of that in science, none of that matters unless...
But it's not about in science. The reason people doubt it is because the people talking about it are lying. And then when they ask the scientists that they have available, they nod their head and go, yes. Right? This conversation is so synthetic. It doesn't make any sense, really. I don't know, man. I know there's a part where he talks about like gender and stuff, right? Which I wanted to get to. But this whole part is totally synthetic. Like, they're not talking about anything real. They're talking about like made up situations. Because I don't know if Tyson, if Neil doesn't understand what happened or what. I don't know, man.
By
this is
their
just so
reputation, they have
empty
access to
so far.
large-scale
Sorry, I wanted to not pick on this, but
studies that they are reporting to you, okay? But not the lone person.
it's just misunderstanding what's happening. It's not lone person versus the institutions. It's media is lying. The institutions are lying. And then even the institute, it's not like he's acting like the scientists are always telling the truth the whole time. We know they weren't. There were institutions, they mentioned it, like people on Twitter and stuff that have platforms that are scientists that are saying baloney, that have different views.
Who says, I have this degree and I hail from this storied institution, and I'm telling you that all those people are wrong. That is the sure sign that you should not pay attention to them. Okay.
Okay, so all the people that disagreed were wrong because they disagreed with the institutions, which we know are lying, which we know are going corrupt for Big Pharma. Okay.
This
definitely don't ever listen to Galileo, right? Definitely do not listen to that guy. What a dum-dum. That guy has no idea what the hell he's talking about. Like, he thinks he can solve it all by himself. Galileo. Like, do not think that... I don't remember which way is correct. I'm sorry. Galileo. For the life of me, I can't remember which way is correct. The point is, though, wouldn't he just have dismissed Galileo, according to his version of this, right? Goodbye, Galileo, you idiot.
Bill's over.
Stupid heretic of the church. Goodbye. See ya. Earth is nope. No. That's not what's happening. The sun is what now? No. No. That makes no sense. We're the center of the universe. We can identify any way we want to, and you have to accept it. Sorry, Galileo. Goodbye. Right?
Bill's over into our UFO hearings here in the United States.
Oh my god.
And that's
Or do you plan to have
sponsor?
a website?
No, skip.
Because if you do,
Research humans in space travel, the explorers of exploring space. What is the future of space? Looking through the cosmic perspective. Here we go. This is where he starts getting
not
nuts.
even on the drawing board.
I saw at least one clip from this that I thought he was being nuts.
You mentioned the questions that we all have when, well, not all, many of us have when we look up at the night sky and start to get a glimpse of our place in the universe, which is an eye-opening experience for many people, even as a kid. And I'm curious.
Well, the rest is all gender.
You talk about it in the book. What are some of the interesting and important messages that we can take from looking at the world with that cosmic perspective?
Yeah, thanks for using the word messages, because Starry Messenger, that's the main title of the book. The subtitle is Cosmic Perspectives on Civilization. The first half of that title is taken directly from Galileo.
You son of a bitch, bro. You son of a bitch. You son of a bitch. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me, you son of a bitch, bro? You just said Galileo would have had no idea what he was talking about and you should have ignored him. And then you're like, oh yeah, in retrospect, he did know what he was talking about. Yeah, okay, Galileo knew. Come on, what the... Neil, what are you doing, man? How can you basically say Galileo at the time, if Galileo was now, he would have been wrong. But Galileo then... Okay, sure. I guess, Neil, whatever you say, man.
First book reporting on what he discovered when he took the freshly invented telescope.
Right, when he was a lone person doing his own research. Uh-huh. Right, well, when he was doing that, that's different. That's totally different. That's different. That's different. That's a whole different thing.
Put it onto the sky. And to him, these were starry messages. So his first book is Starry Messenger. And so
I don't know why I listened to that crackpot.
Learn about what's going on in the universe, and then you look back at Earth, it changes you. Right? Let's go back to the Apollo era. Yeah, we went to the moon.
See, and then you look back, he actually pictures himself in the sky. He actually pictures himself in the... That's crazy. That's not... I mean, you can do whatever you want. Not crazy, sorry, but it's fake. It's synthetic. You can't actually go... anything you're doing is a mental construct, right? Because you're not in space.
To explore the moon, but the astronauts looked back over their shoulder and they discovered Earth for the first time. Do you realize nearly all the most important legislation passed in the United States and a few years later around the world to protect Earth? Okay, we had a Clean Air Act, a Clean Water Act, a clean, the first Earth Day, all right, was in the United States, then it went around the world. All of that happened.
Right, and it led to all good things, right? All of it's good. All of it good.
While we were going to the moon.
What? Okay, so the point is, really? Is that why you think? Okay, I'll just give it to him. I don't know.
Between 1968 and 1972, 73. All of that. Our Environmental Protection Agency was founded. We banned leaded gas over that time. We banned DDT over that time. All of that. Before then, people had concerns about their local environment. You know, if there was a factory polluting your river, you'd try to, you'd try to fix that, the air, but it was local. No one took the step back to think about Earth as a holistic system.
Holistic. There we go. There we go. Holistic. Very interesting. Very interesting, his choice of words there. Holistic. That's what I'm to point out and put a little highlighter on. Now, I can't get into that holistic. It's too big of a topic, but very interesting.
That did not happen until the Apollo era. So,
holistic.
People say, why did we spend all that money to send 12 astronauts to the moon? What price would you give?
So you synthesize between the view from the cosmos. Interesting.
To this firmware upgrade that we all felt.
It's kind of like Gundam. Any of you guys watch Gundam? He believes in like new types. He thinks he's like a new type, like Chara's novel, right? Neil deGrasse Tyson basically thinks he's Chara's novel.
At that time,
without even going to space, he thinks just thinking into space makes him a ascended being.
Changing our focus of concern.
That's what he thinks, isn't it?
From your neighborhood to the Earth at large. How much is that worth to you?
Should you even do that? Why should you do that? I don't think you should do that. I think nothing good has come from that shift of focus, personally.
And I say firmware upgrade because there are people around that time, yeah, it's time to fix Earth. Are they actively saying, oh, it's because I...
Firmware upgrade, he says. Firmware upgrade, he says. We know that people can't have that many people in their lives. In what way are we saying that this is for sure a good thing necessarily to switch that focus? Why is it a firmware upgrade?
Saw Earth from the moon? No, they're not going to tell you that. That's why I think it was a firmware upgrade. Because everybody felt it at the same time.
It's such a profound point, Neil, because when I talk to people who are alive...
Firmware upgrade. So any change, mimetic, any memes, are firmware upgrades, but they aren't all good.
In the moon landings, even if they didn't take that from it, they took from it a sense that anything is possible.
Ah, so that was one. Well, so that very important. Thanks for mentioning that. So I don't know how old you guys are, but I remember an active rejoinder to the problems of the world was, if we can put a man on the moon, we should be able to feed the population. Okay? So that was the measure of accomplishing something hard. Now, I have an unsatisfactory answer for you on that. Maybe going to the moon is easier than solving poverty.
Yeah, no, I think he's right. Poverty might not even be solvable exactly. But we have been going about it all the wrong way, of course. Like, we've gone about it the state-controlled way. We've never tried a more hands-off way, where a more charity-based way, like a full free market-based way, and just see if charity actually handles it. Now, people say charity won't handle it, but again, conservatives donate to charity more than leftists do. Why is that the case, right? And if they do that, then if people in general, instead of believing in like stealing from the rich to fix problems, instead believe that we got to fix everything ourselves and work together to do that, like a real thing based in reality instead of a crazy nonsensical thing. If people believe in that, then what'll happen? You know, what world would that be? Instead we live in this weird halfway version where most people think other people are too dumb to take care of themselves, and they also don't want to do anything to help anyone, and so they just want everybody helped by stealing money from the government, which is not from the government, from rich people. The government doesn't have any money. The government's the thief. The government doesn't make anything, so it doesn't have any money. You'd say it makes some things, like weapons. Yeah, I guess it does, but isn't that a clearly a horrible incentive then? Maybe we should not let them do that, right? Maybe we should not let the government do that, because then they have this horrible incentive to sell them to other countries, and we've seen what that does. So maybe they shouldn't make even those. The government should be, in my opinion, restrained to the minimum it can be, and we should see, I know that, you know, this might be crazy, but I think we should see what the free market and charity would actually look like. Good luck getting it, I guess, but I wish one state would do it. And, you know, I think it'd be, but I don't know. The state seems to put everything in molasses that it touches, or destroy it, or ruin it. Like, look at the public school system. Look at its performance. You think that's good? What, give more money? No, you don't understand how much money goes into it then, because some of the worst schools, the schools in Baltimore is like the 4th most funded district, and they have like barely anybody even passing math. Like, look into the numbers there. Look into the Baltimore numbers, and then look at how much funding they get for a kid. Okay, and then tell me like that we need more funding. No, that's, you haven't looked into it. If you think that that the schools are funded mainly by property tax, you are not caught up on anything real about school funding at all. Take 5 minutes and look up where school funding comes from, because you're talking out of your butt. And it depends on which state, of course, but just even look at the national averages. It does not mostly come from property taxes. A teacher lied to you if you believe that. You're a human parrot, and you've never looked up a real, you might, I don't know if you have, sorry. But if you believe that, you're still in the matrix, man. You haven't broken through to be able to research things, because the information's out there. You can learn. Just do it. Do it on your own. Don't just stop at the first Google result, please.
Have you considered that? Okay.
Or do, you know, you do you, but that's
learning
ridiculous.
that takes place in classes that you didn't take.
Oh, it all takes place in classes.
That other people took that maybe you judged was hard.
Right, it's all about classes. No class is hard.
Social problems are harder than physics problems to solve. Just maybe. Let me put that out there.
Well, that's a very interesting point on which to come on to the issues that I said you'd made controversial remarks on. We'll find out how controversial they are. But
here we go.
We have recently had Richard Dawkins on the show, and everyone now is obsessed with the trans issue. Everyone's talking about it. Everyone gets asked questions about it. And I know you and Richard have sparred. I remember watching a debate between the two of you for 20 years ago.
You're a professor of the public understanding of science, not professor of delivering truth to the public. And these are two different exercises.
I'm the professor of that. I'm the one that's the professor of that.
Put the truth out there, and like you said, they either buy your book or they don't. Well, that's not being an educator. That's just putting it out there. Being an educator is not only getting the truth right, but there's got to be an act of persuasion in there as well. Persuasion isn't always, here's the facts, you're either an idiot or you're not. It's here are the facts, and here is a sensitivity to your state of mind. And it's the facts plus the sensitivity, when convolved together, creates impact. And I worry that your methods and how
the medium is the massage. The medium is the massage, is what he's saying.
How articulately barbed you can be ends up simply being ineffective when you have much more power of influence than what is currently reflected in your output.
I gratefully accept the rebuke. Just one anecdote to show that I'm not the worst in this thing. A former and highly successful editor of New Scientist magazine, who actually built up New Scientist to great new heights, was asked, "What is your philosophy at New Scientist?" And he said, "Our philosophy at New Scientist is this: science is interesting, and if you don't agree, you can fuck off."
Now, I actually kind of agree more with Richard Dawkins, but I do understand the value of... I don't think it should be persuasion, because that's a little weird way to put it. I think you should... I don't know. I don't think I agree with him at all. I want to agree with him, because there is value in persuasion, but I think if you're thinking about it being persuading, you might not be focused on expressing it as clear and as concise as you can. And then the people that are there because they're interested are going to have to go read through your persuasions when they've already been, like, they're just looking for what you know, and they're looking for you to distill it. And that's good to do that. That's good to distill that. And that is what an educator is supposed to do, is provide it in the most clear, concise way he can. And I guess in some elements persuasive, but I don't think it should be that much of a focus. I think I disagree with it. But I've thought about this myself. Maybe you should put good ideas in stories, and that's the main way to do it, because stories are a really good vehicle, because they don't necessarily make people defensive about the ideas inside them, and people are more accepting of ideas when they're relaxed and enjoying something. I don't know.
You were rebuking him, actually.
It also feels a little dishonest, though,
for not being gentle enough in the way that he communicates.
Yeah, because he's Brit trained, and a well-trained Brit has full access to every word in the dictionary, and his sentences come out perfectly barbed when he needs them to be. And I chastised him for not having a gentler, kindler approach.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that. And I'm pleased to report that I think you would find that Richard is mellowed with age.
Okay,
so
thank you. I could be just age. I don't know if I had any effect on him at all. By the way, when I rebuked him then, it was the first time I'd ever met him. So I was even a little nervous, because he was a hero of mine, and I've read his books. But I said, I got to put this out there, and that was the first time.
Yeah.
Now are we ready for the crazy? Let's go.
Well, I remember that.
We've been in this for 40 minutes. I appreciate you guys. Let's go.
Now, of course, Richard
getting wild now.
I don't consider her outspoken, but he's spoken openly about his views on the trans issue, as have you. And I was a little bit surprised.
I don't have views so much. That's my...
Here we go.
Let me just clarify.
Okay.
I don't
have views. I just have ideas that are transcending what you consider views, and they're from the cosmic experience.
I don't run around
I don't just say things lightly. I have cosmic ideas. I bounce my ideas off the moon, and then they come back to the earth.
With an opinion that I then foist on other people.
I just put my idea out there, which I know is made out of gold, and I know that they're using persuasive techniques to massage it into their... Wait a second. He was just going on about being more persuasive, and now he's taking basically the Richard Dawkins approach, where he's like, I don't...
I have opinions, and they're my opinions. And I don't...
Wait, okay.
care if you have my opinion.
Well, okay. No, that's fine. That's reasonable, but it doesn't really... I don't know if it's true. It sounds... Okay.
But if you have an opinion that you're carrying, I want, as an educator, I want it to be as informed as possible.
Oh, here we go. I don't care what your opinion is, but it better be... Interesting. Interesting, right? I knew he was lying. I knew it was fake. Okay, I don't care what your opinion is. I don't care if you agree with me, but I want to make sure your opinion isn't this way. There we go.
Possible. Before you land on an opinion that you dig your heels in.
Absolutely.
Now, I agree with him, though. People should be well informed before they make up their mind. That is true.
This is my... I see that as my role as an educator. So continue.
Quite. And the spirit of my question is very much in order to understand this, because one of your functions over time has been to communicate scientific knowledge to the public.
Yeah.
And that's why I was quite surprised to hear you talk about the idea that we all exist on a spectrum where you
Oh my God.
wake up one day and you feel like you're more female and more male.
I wish I still to this moment do not know what that means. To feel male or to feel female. Like, I don't know what set of feelings they're describing. I don't know why there isn't like more pushback on the feel male or feel woman thing. Feel male or feel female. Feel man, feel manly, feel womanly. Because it doesn't make any sense to me. And I know it doesn't make any sense to most people. What does it mean? What does it mean? And the only thing people kind of talk about is then like stereotypes about the gender. Like, you know, like wearing a dress or like liking pink or something. Like, okay. But couldn't you just like pink as a guy and then not? Why would that make you feel like a girl? I mean, wearing a dress, okay. I can see how you're like, whoa, I kind of feel like I'm being a girl right now. I'm in a dress like a girl. But still, like, how do you feel? Like, I'm feeling girl. I'm feeling feminine. We do have feminine nature, just like we have masculine nature. Male and female both have it. You get your masculine nature from your father, you get your feminine nature from your mother. It's not that complicated. I don't ever still feel like a man or feel like a woman.
Apparently, the XXXY chromosomes are insufficient.
Well, nobody's saying that's what it is, right? They talk about gametes. They go, okay, who can have sperm? Okay. And who can have eggs? Okay. And who could have had eggs or could have had sperm, but there's some medical reason you can't. That's it, right? No one's doing the XXXY thing is a fake like thing that people point to. You could point to the testes determining factor. You could point to that if you wanted to, right? That and say that's what caused it. Okay, but that's still not really, like, we already know that's what causes it. That's what causes the change in gametes, right? It doesn't change what we use to categorize the two things. So it's kind of silly. It's a fake argument, man. And it's weird he's making it. It doesn't make any sense. He's supposedly too smart for this. Why is he making this argument? He knows that's not a thing.
Because when we wake up in the morning, we exaggerate whatever feature we want to portray the gender of our choice.
That's insane, I think. Sorry, I don't mean to call it insane. Go back. It's ridiculous, though, because when we wake up in the morning, the reason people, like, if even do this act he's describing isn't because they want to seem a gender to the world. They have the specific reasons for doing it. Like, this eliminates the why from human consciousness and just says it's feelings, which is not the why. Most certainly not. You don't just do something because you feel that way. There's some underlying real reason. Like, for example, maybe you put on makeup because you want to look, you want to attract us. Oh, don't say that one. Uh-oh. Maybe you retract. Uh-oh. Oh, that one gets you canceled. Maybe, well, what's like a thing he's gonna say, and I'll talk about maybe why.
Yes. Suppose no matter my chromosomes, today I feel 80%.
Again, that's insane. I don't know what he's talking about. What does 80% female mean? I don't get it. Like, am I really agitated like for a week? I'm like really pissed off, and then I have like a crisis where I'm unsure if I'm gonna have children for like 80% of the day. I'm like, man, I don't know if I should have had children earlier in life. I think it was my time almost up. Do I have time to have children? I don't. Like, what is he talking about? Do you get really vindictive? They get really vindictive and hold a grudge. Do you hold the grudge from last week? Is that what you're doing? That's 80%. Are you holding a grudge from last week 80% of the time of the day? So you're feeling really female then? What does that mean? I don't understand what it means.
Female, 20% male. I'm gonna put on makeup. I'm gonna do.
It's okay, makeup. He does bring up makeup. Okay, so then do makeup. People put on makeup because they want to attract people or they want to be seen a certain way, right? They have other motives for it. It's not because they want to feel. It's probably the attraction thing. That's most of the makeup, right? What other reason is it? You could say, and attract. I don't mean necessarily sexually attract. Okay, how about that? Does that dodge that bullet? I don't know. I might still get shot with that one, but that's fine. Go ahead. But so what? I don't know. Like, what is the reason why? What is the reason why they do these things? He's missing the whole explanation. Like he doesn't understand human behavior at all, and he's just making up this other reason that's nonsensical with no evidence behind it, right? Like this gender idea. The only stuff behind gender is bad stuff. Gender identity is based on some sketchy ass science if you look into it. And so he's going to support that. And then he goes, oh, people just don't know how to read the numbers. That's why people disagree with the stuff. That's why people disagree with science. No, this is why. Because people like you are lying like this.
Tomorrow
You're doing the thing that makes people distrusting of science right now. This lie about science. This lie about what's real. This lie about what's the truth. You're making it, man. You're doing it.
80% male. I'll remove the makeup and I'll wear a muscle shirt.
Who cares? What are you talking about? You wear a muscle shirt because you feel a man? That doesn't mean it. You don't have to wear a muscle shirt to be a man. That's stupid. And you don't have to wear makeup to be a woman. That's also stupid. You can be whoever you want to be. Be you. You're still a man. You're still a woman. What does feeling like one mean?
Why do you care?
What do you mean? Why do you care? This is the ridiculous part. Because all this really is trying to attack people and discredit them for talking about it, to neuralize them for even bringing it up. What do you mean, why do people care? There's all kinds of reasons to quote-unquote care.
Yeah. What business is it of yours?
Well, because dudes used to keep other dudes in check. Guys used to keep other guys in check. Instead of encouraging them to do things like go into the other bathroom and just letting it happen, and having no issue with that. Now, you might be like, the bathroom's not a big deal, but is it a big deal? There, you see some full-grown ass, large people, large individuals going into a girls' restroom. There's a video going around about a large individual getting upset with another large individual that went in the female's bathroom that his daughter had just gone into. And of course it makes sense that he's upset about that. And then you got the teams, you got the issues with sports teams, and you have all these reports of this shady ass stuff they say never happens. But if you look into it 2 seconds, you find out it does happen. And what's the answer to that? What is the answer to sexual assault that happens that wouldn't have happened before if we didn't recognize this? If we didn't buy into this, why are we assholes for caring about that sexual assault that happens? Why are we some kind of... Because they need to discredit any contradictory views, right? Like, normally you would think those topics would be allowed to be talked about, and people would have concern for the sexual assault that's happening and wonder if we're making the right choice. Because obviously, I'm not saying anybody should act anyway, but the fact that that happens, there's physical assault and sexual assault that happened only because we let specific individuals into the bathroom. What about that? How do we address that? We don't talk about that. We pretend it doesn't happen, but it does happen. So what do we do with that? We just get yelled at by somebody that thinks in stuff from a cosmic level, so he thinks he has the right to yell at the rest of us? No.
To require that I fulfill.
No one requiring anything from you on this planet. No one is requiring anything from you. We're just asking people not to abuse the social contract and everything we've all agreed to and take advantage of people's kindness and in a way that exploits people. That's what we're actually asking.
Your inability to think of gender on a spectrum.
That has nothing to do with this. Okay, they just don't understand how galaxy brained. They just don't understand the galaxy brain view. You just have to think of stuff from a galaxy level, and then you understand gender as a spectrum. You can be 70% man, 200% woman.
I hope I'm not misquoting you there. If I am, please correct me.
Well, let me say that it's not a misquote, but there's an entire setup before I even utter those words.
Oh, I see. Please.
That setup exists in the book, by the way. And
wow, get that book. Can't wait to read that.
As you know, it's very easy to clip something and then...
Right. No, I'm sure it sounds totally reasonable now. Go ahead. Oh, go ahead. I'm sure it's going to sound reasonable. Go ahead. Go ahead. Show us how reasonable this is.
We know.
We know. You've heard that
from
this
direct
happens?
personal experience. Yeah.
So I try my best to have everything I say so self-contained that it's hard to clip it or to misrepresent.
You have to nowadays. Yeah.
So
give us the full setup. What is...
I say fuck it, man. I say who cares? Who cares?
Because most people going through the education system 10, 15, 20 years from now would have been taught in biology classes that there's males and females, men and women. And in very recent times, in the last 5 years, it feels like this understanding is being challenged by a different view.
Which is not science-based, right? Is he going to pretend it is?
Explain that to us, if you would.
Well...
Look how exhausted he's like, oh my God, I got to talk about this.
So it's very simple, actually. And
it's very simple. If you just think from the cosmic mind like mine, you have no problem with it.
I don't think I'm saying anything controversial here.
This is just common sense, and I'm just speaking what I understand from a cosmic perspective.
Offering a perspective you might...
From space. My perspective is from space. I want you to remember that. My perspective comes from space. Yours, Earth. Mine, space.
Not have had, which I would like you to have, so that when you assemble all of your...
Again, the holistic view of space and the Earth. If you don't have the space view, which is my view, of course, you can't see the full picture. You can't see the holistic version of what's happening. You have to have my galaxy view, and then you can have your terrestrial view.
Your thoughts and feelings and
celestial,
meanings.
Where I'm from, my mind is, and then terrestrial, where your mind is, the ground, the dirt, like your opinions.
Be they cultural, political, religious leanings, that you have all the information.
Again, holistically, you look at things from, again, the terrestrial level and the cosmic level.
Available to you before you land. I would claim that for many people's strongly held opinions or views, that when they become more fully informed, that the strength with which they were holding those views tends to fade or evaporate entirely. And these are cosmic perspectives that bring your view above all that divides us.
He really meant that? I was just kidding. He really meant that he views it from a cosmic perspective? He's actually talking about the dialectic. He's talking about... Are you kidding me? Okay. Sure. Okay. So he views what? Okay, calm down. I need to process this. He's saying he really views things from the cosmic perspective, he thinks, from up above. So the cosmic is idealism then, right? From his idealistic version that he can dream up. Okay. Sure, it's not that complicated, I guess.
This is the power of a cosmic perspective.
Uh-huh. Right, the unbiased cosmic perspective. Right. Okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Sure. Again, it's all artificial. Cosmic perspective is completely artificial.
All right. And
You can't really have it. You're just imagining you have wisdom that other people don't have.
you know, there you are from space looking at Earth, and
You know, you're not in space. You're just normal. You're just on Earth. That's what I'm saying. All right, let's let him go.
you don't see any color-coded countries. Meanwhile, throughout the book, I imagine what an alien would think who has no preconceived notion of who and what we are. They just
Yeah, see, it's all just a fake mind game that to act like it's like a real revelation is silly because you don't know any of it actually is you don't know what's real until you test it against reality, like a plan, right? Every plan doesn't survive reality. It's the same thing, man. You don't know if your ideas are right. You can't just think them up and say they're done. Just go, okay, well, I thought about it from space, so they're kind of really good ideas. No, that's not how it works, man. You got to test them and show they're right. It doesn't matter how cosmically you angle the
observe. And they say, oh, what a beautiful planet. I'll get to your point in a minute, but these are my lead-ups to it.
And then they find out about the Earth and think it's horrible. Got it.
Oh, what a beautiful planet. Let's get a closer look. Oh,
right, I get it. Yeah, it's horrible. Oh, no.
Land.
Wow, humans are murdering each other and raping each other and killing each other. Oh, no, this is horrible. This bit's been done in a million stories. It's like the theme. It's like the current theme of culture that humanity is this cancer on the planet, right? It's going to be what it's like.
Oceans and clouds.
And then they found the people.
And then they see one species sort of dominating everywhere on Earth. And it's okay, fine, we got one species. And then they look closer, and then they see that one species killing one another.
Uh-huh. Wow, real cosmic original take, Neil. Never saw this storyline before.
Because of who's born on what side of a line.
Oh, wow. This is a very original take.
Sand, or who worships this god instead of that god, or no gods. Or
can't imagine that without being in space, even though this same bit's been done in many different... This is the same plot in the video game Jesus 2. Jesus 2, J-E, I played it on stream. Jesus 2, Jesus is a space station. The alien monster at the end, after, you know, killing people, realizes that humanity... Like it sees like it gets like the database, I think, and sees how evil humanity is, and it flies away into space at the end of it. And there's a million stories like that, man.
How reflective their skin is to sunlight, or whatever.
Yes, I know you needed to be cosmic. You need to think about cosmic, right? Okay, okay, sure.
Reasons they come up with. And they're wondering what the fuck is wrong.
I think the opposite is what we should be doing. I think people should start looking for the positive in humanity and like what's good about humanity and connecting on that. We've had enough deconstruction, man. I get it, you're doing it from a cosmic level, okay, but you're still just doing deconstruction. It's still just deconstruction at the end of the day.
With this species, they're all the same species, and they'd rush back home and tell the rest of their fellow aliens there is no sign of intelligent life on Earth.
That's the joke.
Okay? This is how
clearly this is an intelligent life. Now, the idea that aliens would reach the ability to reach us and not be able to understand why we're doing what we're doing is ridiculous, I think. I mean, unless like in the game Jesus, of course, which is a good game, it makes sense. It's like Biomonster. Jesus, the Attack of the Biomonster, something like that. In that world, the alien doesn't yet have the capacity like to think, like to get there. It's like it starts as a little like thing from a cloud, and so it gets that ability from sucking the brains out of evil. You know what I mean? And it comes across it that way. It doesn't get here. Like the alien had the capacity to get here. How does it then not have the capacity to understand why humans are like that? That's a ridiculous idea. It doesn't really make sense. I mean, unless you make the aliens like have this other evolutionary path that's like totally different, and then okay, but what is that path and how do you get there? I'm interested in that. Are you writing science fiction, Neil, about it? What are these aliens like? What is they have to be drastically different than us to come to that, not be able to understand us.
Think about all of this. Okay, so so we look at this whole trans issue. I'm intrigued about how much it takes.
This has to do with the giant cosmos thing, the cosmos view. That this has to do with something.
Attention it is getting. Just intrigued by it, and
well, it's because it's the biggest lie they're asking us to accept. It's not actually a conflict. Like a lot of people frame it this way, as it's, you know, trans people versus other people. That's not what's going on. Most people are fine with people doing whatever they want in their own home or even out on the streets, blah, blah, in their own lives that don't have to do with them. Like that, I'm fine, okay? Live your life however you want to, man. I'm a believer in freedom like that. But then those people are now coming up to you and saying, accept this lie. And people are saying, no, I'm not going to accept that lie. No. And that's where it is, man. And people pretend, like mostly people that are in the cult, the people that believe the nonsense, they see it as just two groups battling it out over little differences that aren't important. But that's not what's happening. They're asking you to accept a lie, and people are saying, no, I'm not going to accept it. No. And because I have a mother, because I have a sister, because I have a niece, because I have females in my life, and I do not want them to be exposed to that kind of thing, right? That's why.
I'm a scientist. I observe, but I'm also an observer of people and pop culture and civilization. My father was a sociologist.
Okay, great.
Active during the civil rights movement of the 1960s into the 1970s. I don't know when this will air, but when this will post, but August 28th, 2023
Air's fine, right?
Is the 60th anniversary of Martin Luther King's "I Have a Dream" speech. And
yeah, I read the letters from when he was in jail around the anniversary. It was interesting. I did it on the stream. It was very interesting. I had to read a specific word that's in there. Didn't realize it when I started, but when I was reading, I was like, you gotta say it. If you want to find that, it exists. Anyways, it's a really good it was a really good letter. It was a really good letter. It was very interesting. You should read it if you never read it. From jail. I forget what it's called. Just look up like MLK letters. You should be able to find it.
That's one of the most popular speeches we know of in the United States, and I bet it has currency elsewhere as well.
Oh, massively.
Yeah,
Massively.
absolutely.
Just because of...
Now, again, see, he's going to make an appeal to it being groups that are just disagreeing on like their nature and things, which is not what's happening, which is why it's going to be an empty appeal.
The message he was communicating and the timing of it and all of the above. I'll have some postings related to that in my media channels. Anyhow, so let's back up. So I don't know all the founding documents of the modern UK, but I do know the ones of the United States. And they include things like the preamble to our in our Declaration of Independence and the preamble to
What's
the
his point,
Constitution.
man? He talks so much without making any points.
The Constitution itself.
It's almost all synthetic points where like he's misunderstanding what he doesn't understand what the people that he's talking to, right? When he says you in that one clip, he doesn't know what those people think. So it's not talking to him. He talked about persuasive earlier in his Richard Dawkins rebuke that you should think about their circumstances and put it into their circumstances as an educator. That's exactly what he's failing to do now. Is this irony that he's become the opposite of what he said he was before? Maybe. Yeah, maybe it is. But I don't think he's really, like, he can't really, I don't know, man. What has happened to him? He can't really believe this nonsense, and if he does, I don't know.
Okay.
I get it's either he believes this nonsense and he's a liar, which I don't think is the case. He doesn't believe this nonsense and he's a liar, which I don't think is the case, or he believes it and he's somehow fooled himself. He's accepted these lies, and so when that happens, you stop being able to think critically about other people that you disagree with. It seems like it seems to be an element of tribalism. I've noticed that recently. When you really lock in on your tribe, like let's say men go their own way tribe, for example, some people call it the incel tribe or whatever. Those people see women as just animals or machines. They don't see them as individuals anymore. They don't recognize their individuality of females anymore. They talk about them like, oh, they use Tinder to date. They use this to get somebody with a man. Blah blah. I mean, somebody with money, a man with money. Blah blah blah. The point is, though, they're not seeing them as individuals anymore, because the thing to tell most of those people is, yeah, maybe a lot of women are doing whatever thing, but just like you're an individual that cares about, like, that wants like a family, to assume there isn't an individual woman that wants that too, and that all women are machines and all women are animals and like this, it's just stupid. It's just logically inconsistent. But it's the tribal nature of signing on with the tribe completely and completely writing your identity of the tribe. What happens is you become only able to recognize your tribe members as individuals, and everybody else is machines or automatons. And that's just kind of how we're wired to think, I think. If you look for it, let me know if you have any similar observations about people. It's something I've noticed recently.
Let me remind you, this was a document to get the hell away from England. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we remember.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know if you remember this. And let me just make it clear that the Constitution begins with the 3 words, "We the people." Okay. We give power.
Right. Okay. What is the point? Who are you speaking for? The thing is about we the people is the point is you only get to speak for yourself. You don't get to tell everybody else what to do.
To those who govern us, not the genetics.
Agreed. True.
Of a royal line.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Going back thousands of
I
years.
feel like this is like a direct personal attack for absolutely no reason.
Okay.
Yeah, it does feel like that.
Okay, so now watch. Okay, so.
All we're asking for is a little bit of gratitude.
No, I'm just kidding. It's not a personal attack. But I'm saying, like, it's totally unrelated to what his point is, though. Like, there's no... What is his point still?
What we did.
What does this have to do with what's going on about trans, related to trans stuff? What does this have to do with that?
All right, is that too much?
We set up your country, and this is how you repay us.
We gave you the language, woman.
Okay.
Unbelievable. You ruined the language. You can't even spell properly, and here you are lecturing us about your... Anyway, tell us about the trans...
I kind of enjoy those kind of conversations, though. You know, about America, you know, those are fun for me too. I'd be on Neil's side in this one.
So here we go. Are you ready?
Okay.
I'd be on Neil's side on the America thing.
Oh,
I wish he'd stop being crazy, and then I could get on his side. But
look at humans physiologically, and then you have these chromosomes. All right, in most humans, high 90%.
It's not about the chromosomes, bro. It's about the gametes. Can they have a baby? Can they produce sperm? What is, like, this is all fake. We all know this is not the thing we're talking about. Because again, this just isn't real, man. This isn't what anybody's talking about. You're making up a fake thing to debunk it.
You're either XX or XY.
No, you either produce sperm or you have eggs. Right? Right? That's it. Or you have a medical condition that doesn't allow you to produce one or the other. For some reason you can't do one or the other anymore. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it.
Okay, chromosomes.
It's not chromosomes, bro.
And that defines your sex.
No, the testes determining factor, which is a specific part. It doesn't matter, bro. It's this whole thing is just a word game, because he knows a lot of people think of sex that way, and so he's trying to trick them with this. But most people have already moved on past this argument. Even it doesn't work anymore.
Are you male or are you female? Okay, so it's a binary.
It's about reproduction. It's about reproduction. Are you going to bring that up?
Biological representation.
About what? What purpose does it serve? What purpose do we have male and female?
Of your sex. Okay.
Why?
I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, but why? Why do they exist?
That's binary. Okay.
It's binary. Who cares about if it's binary or not? I think people call it bimodal or something, because it's binary. But then there's intersex people that exist, so it's not really binary. But they still fit one or the other. Like, they still would have been able. They still have one set of the one set of equipment, so to speak, that's more, you know, that's functional, and the other one's not. Or what? It depends on the condition, right? But there's still one or the other that they could have done, or could do, or do.
So,
But he's ignoring that. He's pretending like nobody knows about what gametes are. Nobody knows about babies. Nobody knows that we're here to have babies. Like, for some reason, that's out of the conversation.
Let's ask ourselves some questions.
It's just...
When you see another human being, do you see their chromosomes?
What? Huh? What? No.
It's just an interesting question.
No, it's not. What?
How visible are their chromosomes to you?
No, you see the phenotype. You don't see their chromosomes.
Yeah.
Well, sorry. I obviously, you don't literally see the chromosomes, but okay. And let me not use the word phenotype because...
Well, again, you just made up that the bar is here in the first place, is at the chromosomes, but nobody else is really agreeing with that to begin with. But okay, we'll keep
people
going.
Hear that word, don't know what it means, and I'm an educator communicator, so...
Oh, I'm gonna reframe this because I like it differently. So I'm gonna reframe it in an argument that I like, and I'm just gonna dismiss your word and say it's because I'm an educator.
I will say, you see the person who presents themselves to you.
Who presents themselves to you? No, that's not what you see. You see the person who is presented to you. What do you phrase that way very carefully. You see the person. You could say who is presented to you. You see the person. You see the person. Period. Saying, oh, that's a clever trick. He's setting it up that way to say that that's their presentation from them, from their mind, from what they want you to see.
That's what you see.
That's not what you see. No, you see the person. Like, look at him looking up. He's like, bro, what is this guy saying right now? Well, how is he trying to trick me? How is he? He's trying to trick me. He's trying to say some nonsense here. How do I get through it?
World. And I did an experiment in the New York City subway. It was winter, so everyone has on a coat.
What?
And I looked at everybody from the neck up.
Okay, and what? Okay, and this experiment, because even if you couldn't tell somebody, you look from the neck up. You can't even do that. That, like, the idea that you could do that and you're not going to get any explicit information from your system one. I mean, implicit information from your system one thinking and your first intuitions when you look at them is silly. The fact that he's got to know that, right? There's two parts of your brain, right? There's system one and there's system two. System one is the really quick stuff. A lot of that you're not aware of because it's too quick for your conscious mind to observe it. It's too quick. And we know these things exist. We think of them as instincts and things, sometimes as quick reactions, as you drop something and catch it, and then did you even think about catching it? You know what I'm saying? Talk in your native tongue. Did you even think about how you're going to phrase it? I mean, you might have think of like specific ways you want to phrase it, but you're not really like picking every single word like you would if it was a second language. Same with playing an instrument. When you play an instrument, is it like when you first learn to play it, or are you good at it and it's like second nature? Second nature. That's system one. You do that when you glance at people. To act like you can isolate system one and system two from each other is ridiculous. That's not even a thing we can do. So even the premise of this experiment is ridiculous.
Everybody's seated.
It's already impossible. Like, it doesn't make any sense. There's no way you can be sure that you're not getting any system one input when you're looking at them. Even if you're trying to look at just the top. Like, if you got pictures of them that were just their upper body, okay. But he's saying he looked at them physically, which means his eyes saw their full body.
And by the way, almost all of human...
Which, again, I don't know if that has anything to do with the experiment, but it's a faulty premise to begin with.
Height difference is in their legs, not in their torso. So when we're seated, we're all approximately the same height. That's why everyone could just sit at a big old dinner table, and only the children need phone books to sit up. Everybody else doesn't have to adjust their chair.
No, you do adjust your chair because you got long ass legs. What are you talking about, bro? Every time I sit in a regular chair, my legs are bumping into things. You do have to adjust your chair because you have long ass legs.
Their chair height, okay?
Or you gotta pull it back a bit.
So everyone is about the same height.
But anyways, yeah, probably about the same height. But come on.
Seated. And I asked myself, can I know who the boys are and who the girls are?
And this is an experiment. First off, again, it's ridiculous.
at a glance.
How are you going to know about what part is system 1, part is system 2 when you're saying you're only looking at the top when you know you can't even do that?
And the answer is yes. And I got it 100% correct.
Okay.
Okay? And what do I mean by 100% correct? The girls had certain features manifest to me. On average, girls had longer hair.
This is what I'm saying, though. He's only judging the system 2 part. He doesn't even know what he took in at a system 1 level, at an unconscious level, that already told him. We know at an unconscious level pretty much, which is why this experiment is silly. This is his rider, to put it the metaphor with the elephant and the rider, if you ever heard that one from The Righteous Mind by Jonathan Haidt, right? The elephant and the rider, the idea, it's the same, similar idea as system 1 and system 2 thinking. It's intuitions versus your conscious, reasoned mind. Your elephant reacts on its own. It just does things. And you're kind of usually explaining why it does that. So from his perspective, it's a biased experiment because we only have the view of the rider. We don't know what the elephant did. And we have no recording of the elephant. So we don't know at all what's true. Because all we know is what his rider could be making up. In fact, a good example in the book is when he's talking about like something he was talking about to his wife, and his wife asked if he did something, and he said, yeah, I did it, you know, and he just like made up an excuse, but he didn't realize he was making up an excuse. And we all do that sometimes, right? We think we did a thing and they're like, oh no, wait, I didn't do that. And we lied without thinking about it, but that's because our system 1 thinking, you know, it thought we did. Its intuitions fooled us. Our intuitions fooled us. And so we think they're correct, and so we lie. That happens. So everything he's saying right now is a piece of information. It's, if you base anything on this, you're basing it on faulty information. This is not very good information to use. But I mean, you can let it inform you too, but you need to understand that your intuitions are separate. Like, and a lot of those cause feelings, and a lot of that helps you if you read your feelings to your, and you track those to your intuitions, you kind of figure out why you're feeling certain ways and how to not feel that way in the future, kind of thing, which of course that's something you can do.
If they wore jewelry, there was more jewelry. The jewelry was more expressive. More earrings, more finger rings.
Again, all this is nonsense, man. He's totally discounting what went on in one part of his mind, and he's acting like it doesn't exist. And then he's going to base all of his description about genders on this other part that we don't know what his elephant thought. So it's missing a big part, the bigger part, because the elephant's really doing the moving.
Facial hair was more likely
right.
more likely to have.
What is his conclusion of this?
Guys?
No, he just keeps describing. What is your conclusion?
Okay, so here's my point.
Right, 22 minutes later, thank you.
We have, and like I said.
Oh, I just think so galaxy. You don't understand. I'm thinking up in the galaxy, and then I have to come down. That's why it takes so long for me to make a point. It's because my idea has to bounce off the moon, bounce around there a couple times, then it comes back down, and then I can make my point. I think this is going to be the last part of the video. We're just going to cover this part here.
Yeah, the clothing, get your clothing in the girls section because they know how to dress you. And get your clothing in the boys section because they know how to dress you. All right? And, by the way...
What is the point?
Hair removal is way more efficient today than when I was growing up.
It's bone structure, man. Like, that's probably what you notice more than anything. But the point is, since he was all taken in at system 2, he wouldn't realize that, like, bone structure, movement, that, like, we instantly know from that stuff. He didn't even really mention that stuff. Now, I didn't cover each thing he mentioned. Maybe he does somewhere in there, but come on, man. It's not just things the way they're dressing. It's their actual physical structure is different, and it's obvious.
It was not uncommon to see a woman...
The way they move is different. Everything's different. Hips are different. Hips don't lie.
With a mustache, trying to bleach...
It's not facial hair. It's hips. It's muscle. I mean, it's muscle, yeah. And bones. It's...
Or trying to tweeze it. Now it's gone. Because women are not supposed to have hair. We all know this. Guys are hairy, and women are not hairy.
Like, it's ignoring all the things that are... Because purposely... playing a semantic game, so you didn't include anything that's actually like a part of you.
This
there's things that you stick on.
Understanding of gender has been built into the beauty industrial complex.
Oh my God, this understanding of gender. Why do children have it then? Why do children have it then?
So, my only point was that if who you decide is male and female,
If who you decide is male and female, what are you talking about? What on earth are you talking about? Already, what are you talking about, man? Well, if you're thinking from space, you can decide who is male or female. If you're an alien, see, I'm thinking from the view of an alien. And an alien comes down, it decides, are you male or female? It scans you with a probe. And if you do that, that's the view I'm coming from.
in the street,
In the street, the alien, it's an alien comes down in the street and he's scanning you. He doesn't know.
is a construct
Is a construct.
of style.
Huh? No, man. What then? What? No, bro. Because when you come across a guy in the street and he's dressed like a lady, you're not like, oh no, who is this? This is a This is a guy. I mean, this is a lady. Maybe you're like, oh, okay. There's a guy in a dress almost every time. So it's not true.
And trends and
You see like somebody on the corner and you're like, okay. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not why, how do you know the difference then? How do people notice trans people if it's just these things? Because then they would fool them 100% of the time. Everyone would be completely passing. By his theory, everyone would be completely passing. All trans people would be equally passing because a lot of them do this. Well, not all trans, but you know what I'm saying. A lot of individuals do this and they're not passing. So why?
what the beauty industrial complex wants you to see.
Right, because that's all we have, the beauty industrial. Okay, let me see somebody wearing all those things. Okay, wait a second. Why do I recognize their bone structure? What are you talking about, Neil?
If that's how we establish gender,
No, it's bone structure, man. It's obvious. Come on, what are you talking about?
then maybe some people want to be fluid within that gender.
No, even if your argument is legit, let's go with it. Don't operate within the box of you're saying work within the corporate box that has been set for you instead of breaking free from it. No, if that's the case, let's break out of gender. Let's have no gender. Let's destroy the concept and get beyond instead of just choosing where we shop differently because that's not going to take down the beauty industrial complex or whatever he's talking about. Also, they used to say that was set up by men. But then most editors of like those magazines were women. Most head editors were women. So I don't know where that comes from either. I don't know. This sounds like a repackaged version of that from feminism, and it just hasn't thought about it very well. But I guess he thought about it super well from cosmic perspective, and I'm the fool.
Identify. So they'll wear a skirt, but maybe have a beard, or
Again, break that all down then. And again, no one's fooling anyone. We'll know. Other people will look at them and go, okay, I know what one. Like, what are you talking about?
they'll mix and match that in whatever way
Neil,
you want.
sorry.
But they can't change their bones. They can't change their muscles. They can't change their hips without surgery, cosmetic surgery. And even still, it doesn't really look the same.
Sorry.
Hold on. I'm not. Wait. I'm almost done. So,
Okay.
if a person using the tools of the beauty industrial complex
Plastic
wants to
surgery?
mix and match this,
Yeah.
and they are expressing
Nobody's stopping them from doing anything, man. This is what he's going to make the case for, right? Like, leave them alone. Nobody's bothering them. That's not the case. That's what I've been saying. None of this has to do with anything real, man. What's it? I'm going to let it finish. What's the next part? And sex privileges, the future gender of sports. Jesus Christ, man. I'm going to skip to the end where he says, what's the one thing we're not talking about? And we'll cover that after this and I'll be done.
their freedom.
I want to cover a lot of it, but he says a lot that's just wasted time, man.
Free country to do so.
Mm.
Why is your job to tell them not to?
What on earth are you talking about? No, it's not to tell them not to do that. You're making a straw man to tear down. No. The point is not, don't let them in the bathroom, Fo. Don't let them on the team. Okay? You make their own team. Okay? Go to their own prison. That's what we're saying. That's what people are saying. Don't file them as female under medical studies. Don't file them under female, under criminal stats, because they're not. And it's fucking up the stats. And it's not giving us real numbers when it comes to sociology your dad loves so much, right, Neil? It doesn't help that. It doesn't help that when the numbers are now, it's unclear who's really female or not. It doesn't help the prison system. It doesn't help people, sports teams, where people, we've created female sports on purpose on purpose to protect women, man. Like, I'm done with this shit where we don't protect women anymore as guys. Like, it's not our role where everybody goes, no, women brought on the... No, man. The role of guys is to check other guys and stop them from hurting women. And guess what? What do most people consider certain individuals? Think about that. Think about it yourself. So how can you consider those certain individuals what you consider them, right? And then not think it's your duty to check them and not let them go into a ladies' bathroom, not let them stare at ladies inappropriately, not let them join a female-only team. Like, it's not like anybody's trying to get in their way of their normal life, of them getting from point A to point B, living their life. Nobody wants to stop that. In fact, I wish them all the best luck in the world. In fact, like, I wish them a good life, man. I wish everybody a good life. But I'm sick of us pretending of a lie for this nonsense. And then people saying, not even understanding why people are upset at all or what the issue is.
Okay.
That's my only point. And so
It's ridiculous. It's an only point against nothing because nobody has that view. Nobody's trying to tell other people what to do. People are just trying to protect ladies, okay? And we have a right to do that. And you can't tell us not to, and then we should just go along with society and not protect people. That's ridiculous.
Speaking of gender expression...
That's not a real thing. Shut up. That's not a thing. What are you talking about? Okay, whatever.
The freedom to do so.
Do it. No one cares.
And
if
you want to restrict that...
Yeah, finally he's going to talk about it.
And we've talked on.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, finally get to the point after an hour of video.
I don't know a single person, and I've talked...
There are none. There are none that are talking about what he's talking about. There's nobody like that.
Talk to trans people on the show. We have trans employees at Triggernometry. We've spoken to all sorts of people about this issue. I do not know a single person who wants to prevent people.
Yeah, there's nobody on the planet.
Seeing how they want.
He's just making that person up so he can pretend like he's being virtuous in his view. That's ridiculous.
They want, or choosing any name that they want. However,
the problem
is, nobody's doing that.
So you don't, but you know such people are out there.
Yeah, but that's not, such people are out there. Yeah, just like there's actual neo-Nazis, man.
I'm sure such people exist.
But not like for real, not like a regular part of society.
Same way that there are people who believe that the earth is flat and so on. But they're a tiny minority.
They exist.
It is not...
Look at him make that face when he says tiny minority. He freaks out. It is a tiny minority. He freaks out. Look at him. He can't handle that. He can't handle accepting that detail. He's not going to accept that one bit. He thinks it's most people. So he can vaguely accuse people of being that way. It's not most people, bro. You're full of baloney. I mean, it's not a large group of people. It's a very tiny group of people. It's almost nobody.
Fair point.
No. Don't dismiss that, man. He's full of shit. That's full of shit. That's a full of shit, like sophistry tactic. Baloney.
Point. However, what I would say is that the conversation in the public consciousness has become prominent not between people who want to defend the right of anyone to dress how they want and the people who want to prevent that. The reason the conversation has become an issue is that we assign and allow certain privileges to people based on their sex. If you are female, you get to go to places.
Does he understand? Will he understand this?
The females are in.
Will he really take in what people are saying?
Like changing rooms and toilets and so on. If you are female, you get to compete only...
It's crazy. This thing went on for an hour now, and they're just now getting to understand what the topic even is about this.
Of your sex.
He still never got the thing about the science, about why people distrust science. He was nowhere near remotely close on understanding why people have issues with science now.
Because females are at a disadvantage in physical competition to males in almost every sport. In other words, we carve out certain areas where
here's the thing about it. I want to say
your
no.
sex matters tremendously even though we may respect your right everywhere else to believe that you are whatever you are, to dress however you are, etc. So your claim that today you woke up and put lipstick on and
It's
grew
all
your hair out
ridiculous.
long and tweezed out your mustache and whatever, and therefore you are female, has an impact on other people
Yeah.
in certain contexts in which that is a problem.
You
and
gave only two
increasingly-
contexts. You have
Again, there's more context, man. Only 2 contexts, as if those are small, minor details that you can just dismiss. No, sir. And as if like those contexts existing, we can see what's happening now. He's not actually trying to listen. He's trying to be right, right? This is be right mind. This is cosmic be right mind. You just don't understand. I'm thinking from the space, and you can only say 2 things, and I can think from space, and I can see many things from space.
Sorry, I wasn't finished. And in those contexts, it is essential, people would argue, to protect women from unfair competition and from
sexual abuse, by the way, right? We pretend like that doesn't happen.
various risks.
Even though that plenty of, you can Google it for a little bit, do some research, maybe not Google. I don't know what else you'd use, but you know.
For which female-only
I just say maybe not Google, because a lot of people say when they say Google, they just click the first thing and they're like, I found it, I'm done, and that's not actual research, right?
already exist.
If you do that, you gotta do deeper. You gotta do
That's
deeper
why people
research.
are having this
You gotta read
conversation.
more.
It's not out of bigotry.
Do you have more than those 2 examples? And I'll
Oh my God, there we go. He's just trying to do the I'm right thing.
address each of those in turn.
I just
But
have
do
a
you more than
cosmic
those
brain.
2?
Is that all you got?
Probably not.
Probably not. Okay, haha. I with my cosmic brain, I can foresee that you don't have anything else. Like, what would you have? Like some kind of sociology study or something where they wrote as female and it totally biases the data? Haha. Probably not. Probably not. What about prisons? Probably not. Haha. Probably not in prisons. Haha.
Okay. So
So
let me address
sports-
those 2 examples directly. I'll address them.
Sports
I-
is very important.
You
and
said that. You don't have to
female-only
repeat.
spaces.
I remembered.
Whoa, so condescending. Does he not know he's coming off right now? Like, what triggers in people's mind when they're like confrontational on these topics where they just start talking down to you and like they know everything and you don't? What triggers? Because it's triggered. Sorry, not triggered. Let's not use that word. It's flipped. He's flipped the switch. He's now in the condescending, I'm smarter than you mode. I know everything, you know nothing mode. Even though remember earlier how he talked. Now watch him.
So, but
Flip switched.
don't seem to have a third example. So
You don't seem to have a third example, and my galaxy brain is telling me that means I can just dismiss it. I can dismiss any other examples existing, and in fact, it seems like I've proven that no other examples exist with my galaxy brain, which is, again, in space.
and even if you do, we presume that would be a very distant third compared to those 2 cases. All right.
No, there's a
And again, we basically means it doesn't matter, so I'm right. You get it? My galaxy brain, we're saying anything else we can't think of right now doesn't exist, which that's a logical way to reason things out.
third one I can give you very easily.
No,
In
tell
this
me.
country, for politics, we have female-only shortlists for positions in Parliament.
Yeah, of course, school, there's a bunch of things related to schooling.
Therefore,
In America, too.
Didn't know
you
about
claim
that. That's
that-
interesting.
Well, he didn't know about that, but like he doesn't know about any program that tries to fast track women in school. What are you gonna pretend like you don't know about those?
Okay.
well, that's another example.
Bro, like what do you mean I don't know about that? You're in education, no, you know about that. Now he's playing dumb. This is the part that makes it so shady when people do that. They go, okay, you haven't named anything else, let me dismiss it, but you know in their head they know more. Like, you know the American schools do that. You know there's grants and things like that. You know there's programs for specifically teaching young girls to get ahead. You know those things exist.
Give you more. So, female-only shortlists. There are certain targets within corporations for diversity targets to have a certain number of women on the board. Therefore, when you make a claim that you are female, you are attempting, whether intentionally or not, to insert yourself into categories that are deliberately designed
To keep you out.
to protect women's interests. That is the concern that people have. So there's 4 examples for you there. Please
Okay,
address them.
sure. So interesting about the Parliament. I have to look into that to find.
Oh, I have to look into that. Come on. That's so frustrating because he's purposely hiding all kinds of things he knows that are like that, and he's not going to bring them up because he's not an honest person. He's somebody looking to be right, and to be. I don't know why he's like this now, man.
I know.
I don't know his motives. I wish I did, but they don't seem legitimate.
Is it try to ensure the representation of women? Is that the goal?
That's correct.
Yes,
Yeah, okay,
correct.
fine.
Can we do it here too? What are you pretending like you don't understand?
Perfectly noble cause there. So.
Right, noble. Nothing good. Nothing bad happens from noble causes.
About personal changing spaces. Okay. That's a solvable problem, of course.
What?
And we basically have accomplished that here in Manhattan, where I live. Practically all bathrooms are either multi-gender or solo bathrooms, so only one person.
Multi-gender
at a time.
bathrooms.
You walk into a space and there's stalls that are closed
Stalls?
off, but then you exit the stall and you come to a communal sink.
And that'll
Okay?
stop
So
something.
it's a
You think?
solvable problem.
Well, the
where
problem with
everyone has a
bathrooms.
private space, rather
The
than
problem with bathrooms isn't just the space. Like, it's also the fact that they'll be alone, and they're not necessarily safe while they're in there. Like, we were trying to protect women from being in that space, not just merge the spaces together completely. That's definitely not what we want to do.
for themselves, rather than having a gender private space.
No, we do want a gender private space. That's a goal. Yes,
Okay, it's solvable.
we want to protect women from people that we don't know their intentions, and well, like, what are we supposed to? It's so ridiculous. We clearly want to protect women, and you can keep telling us we have no right to do it, but it seems silly.
It's on a level. By the way, let me give an example.
Now, the bathroom one isn't even that big of a deal. Really, I get it why sometimes they would let people do it or whatever, but it's an unsafe, unguarded area is why it's just asking for problems. It seems like the obvious answer is to let people use like the teachers' bathrooms or something. I don't know. That seems like the obvious answer.
We have a school.
If you really got an issue with it, what else do you
Early
do?
20th century in New York, and it's
The smile means he's going to try to make some kind of point here, right?
and
He
I
thinks
just
he's
saw
got
the other
something really good on them.
day. There's an entrance here and an entrance there, and this entrance says girls, and this entrance says boys. It's like, what the fuck? What? You separate them just to enter the school? I can look back on that and say that was ridiculous.
Why? Why? I don't know if it is ridiculous or isn't ridiculous. Personally, I think public school period is ridiculous. Get rid of the whole thing. It's all fake. It's all artificial. But like, you get rid of the bathroom problem, you get rid of the school, which I would agree with.
You guys, what?
I don't want to get into that one. People are going to say a lot of ridiculous things about that take, but that's fine. Someday I'll do an episode on my views on public school. I talk about it all the time on the stream. People are sick of it.
Were you thinking? But back then, I'm sure it may come.
I mean, my stream is really fun, and I don't talk about that too much at all, ever almost. But if you do want to hear about it, it's very likely you could.
Sense that you're going to send the girls through that entrance, and there's an elementary school, and the boys through that entrance. Okay.
What's the point now, man?
It is possible to look back on whatever you were doing.
I gotta fast forward a bit.
Okay, writers. So you're not like looking over. That has future of those sports.
Bro, he doesn't get the point, and he doesn't care.
Test hard.
Like, that's the point I'm getting.
Is interestingly contested. So,
What?
for example, I wrestled in my life.
Uh-huh.
I was captain of my high school wrestling team.
And
I wasn't so good in college as I was in high school, but
well, if you transitioned, you would have been really good. You would have beat up those girls.
that's when I finally wrestled like corn-fed folks from Iowa.
Yep, you should have transitioned. That's what you should have done.
People who hauled calves, off the farm. Okay. So in wrestling, it would be unfair for me at 190 pounds, which is what I was.
The transition,
back then,
correct.
to wrestle someone 120 pounds.
No. It's not about pounds. You shouldn't be wrestling a 190-pound woman either.
Hold on. It would actually be unfair for you to wrestle someone who's also 190 pounds but female.
Let me work
Yeah.
my way there. Let me just work my way there.
No, man, because you're missing the point on purpose because you're trying to obfuscate the truth by saying weight is something. Because we have different weight classes, we should have different what classes now? Some weird. We should ignore the what? okay, so we shouldn't, doesn't it establish why we should have male and female? Because weight is also unfair, so we have different weight classes in like boxing and things. So if we have different weight classes established, then so gender is the same. We should have different ones. We'd already do that, man. What's the point?
Fine.
You are. I respect how active your brain is.
I respect how active your brain is, but you don't understand because my brain is in space. It shoots behind you all the way to the horizon where it then interacts with space and it bounces up and it sees everything above us and then it comes down. So while I respect that your brain is moving a lot, your brain is operating on the terrestrial level. My brain is operating on the celestial level.
I've thought about all this.
I've thought about this many times from the celestial viewpoint, and I know about it. I know things. I'm smart here. I understand that you're thinking now. Your little terrestrial brain is trying to work now. I understand that, but see, you have to understand that my brain is bouncing off behind you on those lights. It bounces off, and then it bounces up, and then it bounces through your skylight, and then it bounces back into the horizon, where it then reaches space, and then from space is where I've got my ideas, and I thought of them a long time ago, back when I first went to space.
And just allow me to speak it at the rate that I do. Okay.
Go for it.
So it would be unfair. So they have in wrestling, they said, let's make weight categories. Okay. So we make weight categories. So I don't wrestle the 120. I wrestle a 190 pounder. So a wrestling match.
Right. So we do the same thing. Okay.
Not just this.
We have female, we have male categories. Okay. Solved.
One person against the other person. It's 10 matches. And each one is intensely interesting because they are matched.
Right. So what match do you think we can find where a man beats up a woman? What what matching can we do that'll be just interesting where we watch a man beat up a woman? What level is that okay? At what point do we say, okay, we matched it in an interesting way, now we can let a man beat up a woman? Why are we doing that? And what matching do you say? Because that's what he's saying, right? He's saying there's some way we can come up with a plan where a man can beat up a woman and it's okay and we can all watch and enjoy it. That's what he's saying, right?
Okay. So, what the trans conversation...
There's some grouping where we can watch a man beat the crap out of a woman and it's fine. It's fair.
Foisting upon us is the need to find ways to slice the athletic universe.
Right, and what can a man beat up a woman is what I want to know.
Such that we still have interesting fair matches.
Well, it's not what I want to know, but it's what he's making the case would exist, right? Is there some slice that's quote-unquote interesting, right, okay, where it's a man beating a woman? That's what he's saying.
And is it a combination of did you go through puberty as a male and then...
So there's a right point they went through puberty or something, a man can beat a woman.
Transition? Did you have puberty blockers?
Were you tricked into... Notice how he brings all this stuff up without even the dark truth of what they are.
What is your hormone level now if you want to compete?
Right. What hormone levels do you need to suppress yourself to beat up women?
So it requires more creative thought. Rather than saying no.
Right, creative thought. See, creative thought. No, you guys, you don't understand. Your brain isn't galaxy enough. You got to think, how can I make it so a man can beat up a woman? I just got to adjust the numbers enough so it can happen. What do you mean you have some baseline disagreement with that idea completely and you think it's bad? Look, if you just get your brain up into space and look back down, like my galaxy brain, you'll understand, okay? Just think for like an alien.
To it all, let's be creative.
An alien wouldn't mind if a man beats a woman on Earth.
As we were with wrestling.
So it just with a cosmic brain, understand that a man beating up a woman doesn't mean anything.
As we are with practically any other sport. In rowing, there's a heavyweight rowing and there's lightweight rowing.
Right, but they're not hitting each other with the paddles, bro. They're not hitting each other with the paddles, bro. It's pretty, come on. It's pretty obvious, come on. They're not hitting each other with paddles or hitting each other with canoes, bro. Come on. This is just such an obfuscation.
They don't compete against each other. Somebody came up with that to resolve the problem because more than one
They're not hitting each other with their oars, bro.
Person wanted to compete. So I agree with you. It's an unsolved problem. Yes.
Right. The problem of how does a man hit a woman is unsolved. But we can solve it. If we just put our cosmic brains together, we can finally solve this long-standing problem.
Not unsolvable.
It's not unsolvable for us to find a solution for a man to hit a woman.
Given what we know about human physiology.
We know so much more about human physiology now that we can enable, finally, we can rebuild them. We can make a man and a woman and make them in such a way where a man can beat a woman. And we can finally get past this old stereotype where that doesn't happen. No more. We don't live in that world anymore.
So why not rise to that occasion?
Rise to the occasion of finding the solution to the problem of how can a man beat a woman? Jesus. I don't see why I'm the only galaxy brain person thinking it like this.
Solve it rather than take your...
I mean, your simple-minded idea that a man shouldn't beat a woman, how ridiculous. How outright ridiculous. I mean, if his testosterone is low enough, he should be able to beat a woman all he wants.
Your older view of the world.
Right, because you have an older view and I have a galaxy view. I've actually thought of this idea just now. And it can't be dumb because it's new. And newer ideas are obviously always better, even though people can have a million new ideas and they could all be bad. But don't think about that. This is a new idea. Is it established by consensus? No. Remember when I brought up earlier about consensus and not caring about opinion? Well, that doesn't matter anymore. None of this has consensus. This is all baloney. Why? Well, it just doesn't. And I'm not going to remember that detail, that I have an issue about consensus and I'm a scientist and I used all that to build my credibility and I'm now ignoring it. No.
And force modern emergent conduct of people to...
See, you don't understand. You're forcing other people to beat women. I mean, to not be able to beat women like they want to. The new people want to beat women, okay? The new type of woman wants to beat other women, and they're neo women. So they want to do that, and we have to let them do it. We're not going to stop new women from beating women? No.
Fit that.
Okay, well, can we just come back to the female shortlist and other opportunities that women are afforded by virtue of being women? And them now being excluded from that because males are entering that competition.
Yeah, so a deeper problem, thank you for bringing
a deeper problem.
That up.
See, I see things again from a galaxy level. I'm looking from above, so I can see how big problems are and how deep they go. I can understand from a galaxy
deeper
level.
Problem there is...
And the deeper one is...
why were women underrepresented to begin with? What kind of bias exists within Parliament or among the voters?
Right, it's bias. There's no other reason. Okay.
Maybe even the female voters that prevented the representation from being...
Internal misogyny, right. I'm skipping this. Oh my god. So much of what he says is just like roundabout nonsense to make a point that is ridiculous, you know?
I'm curious.
Well, that's...
I think look, if you're advancing that as a solution, I think I have...
Wait, what's it?
It's hard. It's hard. We've been through... So conversation will look the playing field. And
where did I find his question? He never shuts up.
I'm trying to tell you.
So how do you fix the playing field? I'm curious.
Okay, how do we fix the playing field?
Well, that's hard. It's hard. We've been through...
How do you fix the playing field? So we gotta keep trying. I can't agree with the premise of the idea, man. I'm skipping to the end part. I don't know what his idea is, you know, adjusting for...
How...
listen a little bit. I don't want to be unfair.
Of justice, the arc of progress...
No, it's just justice. Don't say progress. Don't reframe it. I saw this clip before. He's going to reframe the arc of justice. The arc of justice moves, what Martin Luther King Jr. said. The arc of justice bends towards the arc of history. The arc of history bends towards justice. It has nothing to do with progress. He just stuck that in there.
There's a Unitarian minister in the early 1800s who spoke of the arc of progress. Martin Luther King would quote him in some of his speeches. The guy's name is in my book. He said, the summary of that quote is...
It has nothing to do with progress. It's about justice. It's about we're becoming more fair, more just, not just progress is good, which is the case he's going to try to make.
I don't know how the arc of justice, the arc of...
See, he knows. He said the right thing.
of
He
progress.
edits it out right there.
Bends, I know it bends.
Dishonest, man. Dishonest a little bit. I'm gonna hope he really forgot. And
Which way does it bend? I'm pretty sure it bends towards
justice.
Is it progress?
No, it's not.
The arc of history bends towards progress.
No, it's justice, bro.
Yeah, there's something like that, and that's a variation, not exactly the wording that's in the book. The book has it correct. All right,
Justice.
And so there it is. You just hope it doesn't regress, so that we're living.
It's not about regression. See, this whole point is nonsense. It doesn't say progress. It says justice. We don't go back to an unjust world. Well, an unjust world is one where a man can beat a woman in sports. Okay.
Yes,
let's just be honest, man. That's an unjust world. That's not a closer to just world.
Today's world rather than tomorrow's world.
And the point of that was that it's almost regardless of us, that it's like the moving of history will bend towards justice, to the point being that it's going to go a little bit towards justice, eventually more and more towards justice as time goes, hopefully, if society, aims towards that.
So this is the only points I'm making.
But then he's saying, like, he's disregarding the whole point of the actual theme. Be like, yeah, but what if it swings the other way? What do we do? Bad. Okay, but that's disregarding the whole thing.
And yeah, well, let's fix the athletics. Put more categories in sports.
Yeah, put a category where a man can beat a woman. Just do it. Just put it in there. Figure it out. Let man beat a woman. Come on. Come on. Somehow find out. Get biologists together. Figure out how a man can beat a woman. Come on.
With the gender specialists.
Come on, the gender specialists, those are real. Those are real. That's real science. There's a consensus there. There's no consensus there, Neil. What the hell are you saying? You made such a big case about consensus, about what's legitimate, and then you're just bringing up gender specialists. What even are those? What are you talking about? What are you who are you describing? Who is that? Name one.
Figure it out.
Name one gender specialist, Neil. Name a gender specialist.
Hormone specialists.
What the fuck are you talking about? What?
The biologists together with the gender specialists. Figure it out. Get the hormone specialists.
Hormone specialists? What are gender specialists, bro? Okay, just total appeal to authority. Like, I don't know anything about... Come on, man. You got to know that there's no consensus here on this stuff.
It's not unfigured.
Consensus of data, I mean, not consensus of people's opinion. Just like you used to describe it earlier.
Outable.
It's not figure-outable that men can beat women. I'm sorry. It's just not. No, don't make that face at me.
Neil,
it ain't.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on the show. And
we spent half the time talking about gender. Was it something else?
You wasted all of everyone's time making stupid roundabout points that attacked people that didn't exist. And you've never taken the time to understand anyone, Neil. I'm really disappointed in this, man. I didn't want to get worked up at all, but you're lying to our face, man. You're lying to us, Neil. I don't know what happened to you. I wish if you watch this, I don't know how you would watch this, but if you see this, what happened, man? I didn't think you were a bad dude. I still don't. I don't know what this shit is, though. This is gibberish, bro. What happened to you? Why'd you sell out, man? What's the problem? Who has something? Who has dirt on you? What's going on? What is this? This sucks, bro. This sucks. What are you doing? Why are so many people turning on reason and the truth? Just fucking stop, man. Can anybody stand for the truth anymore?
Else we were going to talk about?
We didn't actually. We didn't. So we are going to go...
Can anybody really show empathy and try to understand people they disagree with instead of making up fake points and talking down to them? No?
Very well set up.
But that's an educator for you. That's what they stand for. They say they stand for one thing, and in practice, what do?
Neil, you've done a fantastic job to get people to follow us over to Locals, where we will be asking you their questions. Before we do, though, we have one final question.
They gotta pay to get to that. Ooh.
Baby.
Oh.
See, we're learning from the Americans,
This
Neil.
is America, baby. Give me your money. Now, Francis, do the last question for the main interview.
Yeah, okay. Neil, what's the one thing we're not talking about as a society that we really should be? I guess.
I hope this is good. Please be good.
Are we smart enough to be?
Are we galaxy brained enough like me to know about all the things like how to beat a woman? Or can we solve this new world problem where people, the new generation of people, the new women, want to beat women? Can we solve this problem in our lifetime? I don't know if we can. I'd like to think we can, because the arc of justice, the arc of progress, it goes towards the left. It goes towards the left. And I want to think that if you go left 4 times, you don't go in a circle. Instead, you get somewhere. And I want to believe in that. I want to believe in that hope and that dream that the arc of progress goes towards the left. And eventually, you know what? I'm going to go towards the left and we're going to go in one more time. And this time it's going to work. I think so. I think it's the time we finally solve the problem of how can a man beat a woman.
Proper shepherds of
Thank you.
our own fate.
Yeah.
That worries me. When I see people making uninformed or
I'm now going to call a bunch of people stupid because I disagree with them.
just outright crazy or stupid.
In fact, everyone I disagree with is crazy and stupid. I know I called Neil crazy a couple times. I don't really mean it. I mean, he is, yeah, kinda. But he is crazy. Sorry, delusional. I don't know. He's lying to us. I know that much. I don't know if he's crazy. I don't know what goes on inside his head. But I don't know. He's definitely not dumb. But he's lying.
Stupid decisions.
Either to us or to himself, he's lying.
Decisions related to the health, welfare, and safety of our species.
Right, like allowing men to be women? No? Like allowing men to be women isn't a problem?
Going forward, sometimes I question whether we are wise enough.
We, as a whole. You mean everybody? You think everybody else is dumb? That's what you think.
To
I get it, man. Deconstruct everything. The world sucks. Humanity sucks. But come on, we gotta find hope now. We gotta be done with this, man. We gotta be done with deconstructing. It's time to rebuild.
You know, it's an old Native American saying. I'll mangle it, but the sense of it will be there. That you want to behave such that 7 generations from now they can be proud of the decisions you made. Because we don't.
Right, a society goes well when an old man plants a tree that he'll never sit under, right? Something like that. I don't remember the wording, but yeah, okay.
Bequeath it to them. We how does it go? We actually inherit the present from our future generations.
We inherit the present from our future generations? What?
Okay. You do a reverse time thing on it, and you ask yourself, am I doing the right thing for them?
Okay, so he's saying, if we're trying to plant that tree, what do we do? The present should be informed by plans for your distant future. I mean, the humanity's distant future, not your own personal future. Okay, but you didn't really revert time. You're just saying think far enough ahead that you're planning the present based around projections for, like, you know, your grandchildren. Okay. And your great-grandchildren, like you're, you know, far off into the... Okay, sure, but that's not really doing a reverse time thing.
And I don't
totally disagree with that.
Wonder when I see the conduct of humans in the world.
But again, this is him just sitting around judging other people is what this actually is. I'm so sick of it, man. I'm so sick of people just thinking they're better than people and they can have galaxy brain and they can judge everyone else. And they don't even take the time. Like, I wouldn't be pissed about this if he took the time to understand what the people he disagrees with believe, but he didn't. He made people up. And yeah, maybe those people exist at the far reaches, but not really. Like, even those people that he's talking about, some of them are kind of joking, kind of not joking. You know what I mean? Like, some of the people, you could talk them out of their, like, their opinions on it if the world wasn't so silly and you could actually talk to them. Just the people were allowed to just talk. You would talk some of those people out of their ridiculous views, like Daryl Davis does, right? If they're not just lost people or people worthy of condemning, or, I mean, maybe condemning, it depends on the individual, but it's just so dark, man. Like, you're looking at space so much that you've lost sight of light, of the sun, you know, like just the void of space has emptied your brain and you're just in darkness now. But there's the amazing light of the sun. Like, come down here to Earth, bro, where we bathe in the light. Get out of your galaxy brain nonsense. Come back down to the Earth where we bathe in the beauty of the sun, and it fuels us and it charges us and it provides life, bathe in the beauty of the sun, man. Just enjoy it, you know? Come back down here to Earth. It's not bad. It's not so bad. It's not as bad as you're describing it. You don't have to be so galaxy brain. Come, bring your brain back down. We'll go hang out in the sun for a little bit. We'll have a good time. We'll go to the pool.
And
Go to the beach, bro. I live in Vegas. I can't easily go to the beach, but come on.
Every now and then. But I'm generally an optimist.
Bullshit. Bullshit. Just bullshit.
So then I say, when I see where there's some problems, I say, maybe I can help that.
I hope you really believe that.
Put in a little extra information there. So
maybe you'll get back to that someday, man. Maybe you'll get back on the train that isn't dumb. I sure hope so.
Neil, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, that's the end. Okay.
Starry Messenger, really recommend getting the book.
Check out his book, man. I don't know. Check out Triggernometry. It's Triggernometry. You can see it in the background, that poster there. Check out their channel. Check it out, man. Check out his book. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't talk as ridiculous in it. I hope he comes back around, man.
There's a UK version of it too.
It's a Sunday Times bestseller, actually. So yes.
Was it really? Okay, excellent. Thank you.
It does exist, and very successfully. So head on over to Locals, where we ask Neil your questions and continue the conversation.
All right, guys. Thank you very much, so much. If you're watching right now, if you're hearing this right now, thank you very much to the moon and back. I appreciate it. You know, subscribe if you like it. If you want to see more, I'll be making more of these kind of things. I don't really know what to make. I got some other kind of talk show stuff I'm working on. It seemed like I should do it. It seems worth talking about. I hope he comes back around, man. I hope these people come back around, all of them. I hope. I mean, I'm not worried about trying to convince them anymore because it all seems pointless, but I hope they see the light. I hope they see the sun. I hope they get out of space, come back down to Earth, and look up at the sun. You know, not directly into it, of course, but have a good day, guys. Go get some sun. Go get some sun, man. It's good. Don't go into space. Get some sun. Have a good day, guys. Goodbye.